too bright. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another edition of GSA Magical Moments. It's Miss Linda. Thank you for joining us today. We're outside because the sun came out.
So bright.
You need sunglasses? Go get them. So we're going to continue to talk about trees. If you joined us yesterday, we read a story called The Busy Tree, and we found out how it was busy because it helps animals and people. So today we're going to show you some pictures and a story about a tree, and then we're going to also look at the observations that Vivi's been doing, but we'll wait for her to come back. And we also want to see your observations that you've been doing from the little seeds that you planted a couple weeks ago. Good morning, Miss Andrea and Tommy and Olivia. Good morning, Baron. How are you? So before I start, I want to show you, I know I said that we had made that bird feeder that you all saw, and a bird came. So I don't know if you can see. Shut the door, please. But here's the bird feeder hanging, and you can see this little tiny bird right here that came to eat some of the oats off.
It might be an M.
Before the squirrel stole it.
She's
It's
just
okay.
saying hi.
It's okay. Hi. There's Vincenzo.
Oh.
All right, stay right there. You're okay. And then also, we found, I told you yesterday, in Vivi's plants that we planted in the egg cartons. So I'll remind you if you weren't here with us. So here they are. We found a little baby snail. And I don't know if you're going to be able to see this, but this is the one part of the egg carton. And here is the little baby. It was so little, smaller than my fingernail. And it was so cute. And I don't know if he dug down there or if he's still there, but I haven't seen him. Okay, so let's start with Vivi's observations.
I got you.
All right, so I'll share the observations. He's fine.
Mama.
He's fine.
Mama.
All right, you're okay. Okay, so here are her plants. This is one of them. I'll give it a kiss. Okay, mwah. You're okay. You're tough. Okay, so here's her plants. I'll show you how much they sprouted. Can you see how much they sprouted? Okay. This, she says, is the first one that sprouted, and if you can see, it got really big. Stop shaking the table, please. Thank you. Okay, so there's a lot of sprouts in this one. And then this one has a bunch of little tiny ones, if you can see them, that sprouted. Okay. So her observation for this week, she labeled it week 3.
You kind of were in a rush.
Well, I don't know if you can see, but here's her drawing, and it says week 3. She's counted
33 sprouts.
33 sprouts, she said she counted. So that's a lot. Right. So they're her observations. Please send us your observations. I would love to see what plants you planted, or vegetables or fruit, and how they're growing, because I'm sure you're taking really good care of them. All right, so let me talk a little bit about the tree. Let me get these papers away.
I'm going to learn some cool stuff about trees.
So this is a book, and it's called Tree from Seed to Mighty Forest. So the trees, like we talked about yesterday, are planted from a little tiny seed, and they can grow really, really big. Just like you, the trees grow big. So we're not going to read it all. I just think there's a lot of good pictures in here. So you can see trees are all different shapes and sizes. And if you ever read a book that has a table of contents, good morning, Cooper. So the table of contents is a part of a book that shows you what's in the book in case you want to jump around. So we're going to start at this page, and if you can see, it shows us a tree in all the different seasons. So there's a tree in spring when the blossoms are blooming and the days they start to emerge. So right now, this is what we're seeing around our neighborhood, and I'm sure around your neighborhood, you're seeing different trees that have blossoms on them and are flowering. And then in the summer, the flowers have been pollinated and they start to form fruit, or the leaves turn green.
And
And then in the fall, what color do the leaves turn in the fall? Yeah, they turn orange and red and brown. Lots of pretty colors. And then in the winter, the leaves fall off. So it looks like it's dead, but it's not. It just kind of sleeps, kind of like hibernates, kind of like the bears, right?
Oh.
So it falls asleep. So it can come back in the spring, so you can see how the tree changes. And we've been talking about roots. So I know Miss Melissa talked about them the other day. So roots, if you remember, grow most of the time under the ground, but this tree doesn't. They grow on top of the ground. And roots help bring the nutrients and water and the things that the tree needs so it can grow. So it's kind of like you when you eat or drink. So you can see the roots.
there's a root.
Yeah, there's a root here. Vivi's showing you a root. Are all different kinds of roots. So there's some roots different plants or trees that grow out of the water. So this is a mangrove tree and a swamp cypress tree. And look at those roots. These have a bunch of roots that grow into the water, and this tree has one big one that grows down under the water. And then this type of tree, it's called a buttress tree, has huge roots that grow on top of the ground. And here you can see lots of little things that are happening. I see an ant eater. See his long nose? He's looking for the ants. I see leaf cutter ants. So leaf cutter ants are ants that cut leaves and they take them back to their den and use them for food and shelter. And I see different plants and a poison dart frog and a snake. Good morning, Miss Tiff. Hi, Celeste and Amal. So you can see there's all different kinds of roots and all different kinds of trees. Now these trees are banyan trees and their roots hang down from the top. So that's kind of cool. And just like us, the roots, if you didn't know, have hair. So if you look at your arms, besides the hair on your head, if you look at your arms, the hair on your arms is kind of like the little hairs that are on the roots of the trees. And it helps them absorb water from the soil, so it helps them live. Okay, so now another part of the tree is bark. So we've been showing you bark the last couple of weeks. We did a bark rubbing. We had some bark yesterday. Sometimes it's smooth, sometimes it's rough. So if you can look, okay. So here's a tree trunk, and you can see animals. Sometimes squirrels look for food under there, and it takes a while for the bark to grow back. And here's a woodpecker. I know in the busy tree yesterday we saw a woodpecker, and you can actually see today something he might be looking for, and that's called a grub. So there's little tiny bugs and worms that live under the tree bark, and if you listen closely, sometimes you can hear the woodpecker pecking. Remember, we talked about that yesterday. And there's tons of different types of bark. So one that I just wanted to show you today is rainbow eucalyptus tree, and it has a multicolored bark. So normally when we think of bark, we think that it's brown, but look, this type of bark is a rainbow, and it's different colors. It's beautiful. So Mother Nature is pretty amazing. She does lots of amazing things for us. And you can see here there's other types. Hi, Miss Megan. Other different types of bark. So maybe when you're outside today or you go on a walk, you can look to see if you can find different types of bark that's in your neighborhood on the trees. And maybe if it's on the ground, you can do a project with it, or you can take some pictures, or you can observe and have a notebook and draw what you see. So it's pretty amazing that there's so many different types of trees and bark. Another part that we've been talking about are the buds. So you can see here there's all different types of twigs and bugs on trees. Buds, sorry. And right now when you look around, you can see them all budding. then leaves. So I'm sure you've seen tons of different kinds of leaves. So just here's an example of the different shapes that you can see. So again, when you're walking around and you're playing outside, look for the different shapes and collect them.
This leaf.
And you can make projects. Yeah, here's a leaf. This one's speckled. I really like these leaves because they're speckled. They're kind of like someone took a paintbrush and splattered them with paint. So we really like these. And look, you can kind of match it. It's similar to this, although it's not the same.
Yes.
And remember, similar means kind of the same. And let me see, I wasn't going to go
Hey,
through
wait,
the whole
Mom,
thing.
wasn't this the
Yeah.
one on the other page?
So Miss Melissa, I know the other day talked about this when the leaves are living and breathing and they collect sunlight, and it's called photosynthesis, and that's how they make their food that they eat. So here you can see they collect sunlight, and down at the bottom are the roots that we just talked about. That gets all the nutrients to the tree. So trees are really amazing, and they give us clean oxygen to breathe, and you need that. So it's very important that we take care of the trees. There's one more thing that I wanted to show you. Besides the seeds, I wanted to know if you know some things that could be made with trees. You know what could be made with trees? Yeah, there's lots of stuff that could be made with trees. So, here you can see people all over the world use trees for different things. Okay, they use it for making different things like baskets. And also, they get timber from trees, or wood.
What's timber?
Wood, and they can build things like houses and furniture. So trees are very useful. Okay, so Vivi's going to show you a little project you could do at home that's really easy. All you need is a piece of paper, doesn't matter what kind. We have the white. And if you can see, I'll flip the camera, but this is just cardboard that we got out of the recycle we cut. And we made it bumpy like the tree bark. So she's going to show you how to do that. And then she's just going to add the stuff from our sensory bin from yesterday to make the tree.
Should I glue this on first?
No, you can just, I'm going to show them. So you can make the tree with anything that you have. It could be paper, it could be things that you collected. You could even use a real piece of bark. You can make it any way you want.
Hey,
so let me flip this.
That we make it, though?
Okay.
Gotta take that.
So now we can see. I'll get out of the light here. So Vivi's going to make the tree bark bumpy with the fork.
Okay.
She's going to just push hard. Oh, you can't see. Here, that's better. You're using a fork. So again, this is good for fine motor skills. Strengthen those little muscles in their hands.
Oh, this is hard.
It's okay. You can make it however you want. And then she's going to glue it on the paper. She's going to glue it on the paper.
Come on. What's happening? Oh,
Well,
God.
technical difficulties.
Technical
But we don't need to
difficulty.
glue it right now. So she's going to glue it on the paper. We're pretending now. And then she's going to add the top of her tree. We're pretending because it's not working. So she's going to add whatever she wants to the top. It could be anything and everything to the top of her tree. And again, it could be paper, it could be a real piece of bark. If you are allowed to use scissors, yeah, you can tear things. And once you glue it on and it dries, you can hang it up.
Hopefully the leaves will stay on.
Yeah, they'll stay on when we really glue it.
You should
But-
probably ask your parents how to hot glue it.
Yeah, you could also have your parents or an adult hot glue things if you'd like. So that's a quick way to get your kids busy, have some fun, do some nature hunts, and learn about trees. I'm gonna flip this around. Okay, so hopefully you enjoyed our story. Just a little bit more about trees. And I do have a surprise I told you yesterday. Hi, Miss Tracy. Hi, Tori and Tegan. I have a surprise. I'll give you a hint today because it's not here yet. So it's something that we talked about for spring. And it's going to be here soon. And let me think. I don't want to give you too good of a hint because I don't want you to guess yet. So it's something in the springtime that goes through a metamorphosis. I don't know if you remember that word. That was probably too good of a clue. Metamorphosis is a change. So it's something in the springtime that goes through a big change. And I'll let you get some guesses in, but I'm not going to tell you yet because I want to surprise you. So just think about that, and I want you to think about trees when you're running around playing today and you see them, and just look at the similarities, which means the way they're the same, and the differences, which how they're different, because there's lots of different trees and bark like we just looked and learned about. So that's it for today. If you missed any of our magical moments, you can check out our YouTube page. And tomorrow you have 2 more magical moments, so don't miss them with Miss Alexa and Miss Tracy. And I hope you enjoy this beautiful day, and we will see you next week. Have a great day.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh.
Bye.
Bye.